Hey, my fellow renovation buddies, it's Naomi here, and today I want to talk to you about your renovation strategy. So let's say you've figured out your patch. You figured out the neighbourhood that's perfect for your market. You figured out the properties that are within your price range. It's all looking good, it's all looking well. But which property do you choose? It's a bit like there's one behind door 1 and there's one behind door 2. And let's face it, one could be an island paradise and the other one could be a microwave. Sure, they're both great prizes to get in this game show, right? But one is decidedly better than the other. So in today's post, I'm going to be talking you through the variables that will help you work out which renovation strategy is best for you. But before we dive in, I just want to remind you, this part is actually all about what works best for you, not for anybody else. So throw away all the notions that your strategy should be around someone else's lifestyle. Oh, one more thing, just a note. Once you've decided on your patch and your strategy, it's totally okay that this strategy changes down the track. You don't have to be locked into this strategy forever. It's not like a lifelong ball and chain. It is your strategy and it has to move with your lifestyle. And plus, it's only natural that your strategy is going to shift over time, especially if your patch goes into a different direction or you start flipping houses more often and more at a time. As long as your changes aren't something that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, then you're good. But if you're constantly changing your mind about your strategy, it might not be the actual strategy that's the problem here, if you get what I'm saying. In this case, you might need to take a step back and reassess what's going to be giving you the grief, why you keep changing your strategy. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll be left pulling your hair out for all of the indecisiveness. And naturally, depending on what properties are in your patch will determine who your target market could be. It may be a pile of units. It will appeal to maybe a downsizer or a professional couple, or it could be large family homes, which are going to be really appealing to families with multiple children that need the space to move around. So as you can see from these examples, the property that you choose will have a direct impact on who your target market is. So on top of this, there are actually 4 variables that will affect the sort of strategy you put in place. And the first one is what I call the master of property. The first one of these involves your level of knowledge, how much you know about property. And this has nothing to do with how many property guru articles you've read or how many different blog posts you've devoured. It's actually about your specialised knowledge in regard to renovation. Do you know which walls you can knock down and which walls you can't? Do you know the rules around rainwater tanks in your areas, or granny flats, or asbestos, or subdivision? So as you can see, one of the variables, one of the elements that's directly tied to you is actually your level of knowledge. You might be an expert in one property type, and this might be houses or it might be units, but it could be a completely different ballpark in different areas depending on the council regulations. So that's the first variable which is tied to you. The second one is money, 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 money. You know, it doesn't have to be your own money, but you do need money to renovate. And that is why it is the second variable that applies to you in regard to your projects. You might be itching to buy an entire big block of land and subdivide it and renovate the house at the front and put some villas on the back. But do you have enough money to do that? You might want to buy an entire block of units and renovate the entire lot, but do you have enough money to do that? So maybe not to start with, no, but you can build towards it. Instead, you might need to look at buying 1 unit. You might need to look at buying 1 or 2 houses and doing the renovation on those, because it's not the buy price alone that you'll be needing to finance. Remember, it doesn't have to be your money, it can be someone else's, but you've got the buy price, you've got the holding costs, buying and selling costs, and the renovation costs. So your level of funds is absolutely a variable. Now, I like to say this next one. I say it to my kids, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? This is your third thing. This is another one that pops up over and over again because remember, time equals money. When you house flip, you're playing a game with time. Realistically, the longer you hold that property, the more money you're putting into it and the more it will drain your budget because of those sneaky interest repayments and council fees and the like. So if you don't want to hold your property for too long, if you're also going to be looking at increasing your profit, you're going to want to be completing that project as soon as you can so you can get to that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So time is a very handy variable, and I want you to consider, for example, how much time you have available. How long do you want to be spending on these projects? And exactly how long do you want to be investing in one single project alone? Now, the fourth variable, which again is all about you, is about your availability. This isn't saying that you need to be available 24/7 and that you need to work hands-on in a project, but this is about how available you choose to be. So do you want to work full-time on your project? Do you want to be a hands-on renovator? Do you want to work full-time and be hands-off across multiple projects in your patch? Or do you want to be completely removed and renovate remotely? It's all available, but the decision you make here will play directly into the strategy that you approach your renovations with. You know, you can just sit around and hope that one day all of this will come through and that all of a sudden when you look in your patch and you look at the types of houses that you're at, that your strategy will become crystal clear. You could hope and pray that one day you're going to look into your crystal ball and this will all become clear for you. Or you could take some simple steps. Consider these 4 variables and this will help you decide what sort of strategy you want to go with. There may not be one answer to any of these variables that's clear cut. You might have to dig and delve into those, but starting with these 4 variables is a phenomenal place for you to start to become really clear about what type of renovating for wealth journey you want to have. Thanks for joining me. Did you know I wrote a book all about renovating to create wealth and freedom in your life? I've added the link below in the description for you. Enjoy.